If you are not watching on YouTube, I highly recommend switching over because we've got some fun videos to share with you all. Uncle Greg is going to get us all caught up on his Super Bowl adventures, and we cannot wait to hear it.
Exactly. This is exciting.
It is.
Super
It was a
exciting.
great experience. So
And this was on your bucket list item. So I think we need to do a little
Exactly.
toast
Let's
to Uncle
toast to
Greg.
this.
Yeah. And the Super Bowl.
thank you. It was on my bucket list for ever since I remember. My dad and I used to go to Raider games in Oakland when I was, I think, 6 years old. So I guess only 5 years ago. No, I'm just joking. Uh, for a long time, I've been going to live football games. I remember my dad, like, back in the 70s, the Oakland, I mean, it's not the nicest neighborhood in the world. Let's just face it, right? So, but he was, we were on a budget, so we would park way far away from the stadium, so we wouldn't have to pay the parking prices at the stadium. And we would hike for miles up and down hills. I remember crawling underneath cyclone fences to get into the actual parking lot of the stadium, and then we go watch the games. And this was back in the Kenny Stabler days. And I mean, I saw the Super Bowls when the Raiders were making the Super Bowl, but I never got to go to one. Then the
Right.
Raiders moved to Los Angeles, and my uncle started taking me to the 49er games. And we had season tickets to the
Nice.
49ers during the Montana years and the Steve Young years. So I'm kind
Candlestick.
of
I
one of
love it.
those unique people that actually am a fan of the Raiders and the 49ers because I've had season tickets to both teams growing up and into my young adulthood. So I've always wanted to go to a Super Bowl. And when the Niners made it during the 80s, my uncle went because we got a couple of tickets, but my uncle took them with my other uncle, and they went to New Orleans to watch the Niners. And I've been kind of, on the outside looking in, going, man, one day, I want to go to a Super
Gonna
Bowl.
make this happen.
And then lo and behold, this year happens, and it's in Vegas, right
Yeah.
by Bridgie. I got a place to stay, right by my daughter, Amanda. So I got a place somebody to hang out with, somebody to go to the game with. It's in Allegiant Stadium, which is fantastic, and the Niners are in it. Like the stars completely
Right.
aligned. This being the Super Bowl I need to go to.
That is so cool.
Made it happen.
That is so cool. So, was it everything you thought of? I mean, you sort of have high expectations for a Super Bowl, you know.
Yeah,
Was it what you thought it was?
it was more.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
It was
Totally
more.
ticket.
Nice.
What's that, Bridgie?
Was it totally worth the price of the tickets?
Okay. So that's a loaded question because you can always say, man, that money could go towards a lot of other things because it's not cheap, right? I mean, let's face it, it's
Right.
pretty expensive, right? But just the memories and the fact that it was a bucket list and I got to bring my daughter and we hung out literally for the whole weekend doing stuff together around the Super Bowl. That is what made it extra special. So you know how they say, memories are priceless, right? Experiences are priceless. That's
Mhm.
how I feel about this. It's like you can't justify the cost. You just can't, right? They're just, I don't know. You could
It's
just do
yeah.
a lot of other things that are way more needed in my life than going to a Super Bowl. But the memories will never ever go away. And it was such a great experience. I mean, yeah, I wish the Niners won, but besides that, everything was just way beyond anything I could have expected.
Well, it was such a great game though. Even though they lost, it was a great game. So, I mean, it stayed exciting the whole time. What I want to know,
Okay.
the halftime show, like what was that like? Seeing all that.
So Usher put on a fantastic show. Nobody can sweat like Usher. I mean, oh my gosh. I don't know if anybody saw
I saw the
the
memes.
close-ups. Woo, he, he was working hard out there. Okay, so there's two parts of the halftime show that really stood out to me. The first part is how amazing the whole operation is of them getting that stage set up, getting all the people set up.
That's actually what I was interested in. Yeah. Yeah,
Oh
because you
my
don't see
gosh.
that.
You're watching it because, okay, the whistle blows, everybody, all the players leave the field, right? And then systematically from different parts of the field, there's different entrances from the tunnels, right? There's different stage parts coming out, different people coming out from all these different areas. And within, I would say, 8 minutes, the whole stage is completely set up and everything's ready to go. And then what's kind of cool is everybody gets a little lanyard with a little badge that hangs down with Usher's face on it, but it controls a light. And that's how all the people in the seats are, shining the right lights at the right time. It's totally programmed. They just tell you to put the lanyard on and you're part of the show.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Right. So it's shining at the right time. It changes colors, it blinks, all that kind of stuff. So that was really cool. And then the show actually starts, and Usher is on one side of the field of the stage. Then he moves across the stage into the middle of the field. Then he moves to the other side of the stage where Alicia Keys is at. Then somehow they sneak Alicia Keys on with this 50-foot train on her dress that's just covering the entire stage. Then somehow roller skaters get onto the stage. I mean, I don't know how they roller skated on the grass to get to the stage, but somehow they got there. I mean, the whole thing was completely amazing.
It
But here's the
sounds
here's the here's the crazy part that I really wasn't expecting. So after the show's done, they're getting all the people off. I mean, there's probably, I don't know, hundreds of people that are on the field at that time, right? They get all the people off. They get all the stage off. Within a couple of minutes, you see the players come on, and I looked at the clock. Within 2 minutes of them coming onto the field from the locker room, they kicked the ball off for the start the second half. I mean, that is how quick everything is just moving for that halftime show.
The logistics of that is just nuts. I can't believe they can. Yeah, that's
I equate it to like a military operation.
right.
Like there's different commanders in different posts just going, okay, you now, right? I like it's just everybody has a different time that they're supposed to go on, a different role that they're supposed to play, and then different time they're supposed to come off. But it's like to the second.
Yeah.
that's incredible.
It is
Like
incredible.
the amount of organization that has to go into that and planning and down to
Yeah.
the second almost.
Yeah, and even after the game for the award ceremony and like all the players are on the field, hugging and cheering, right, and doing their thing. And while they're doing that, they're moving stages onto the field and they're blowing confetti everywhere. And then they're getting the announcers down there. Like, I don't know, within minutes after the game's over, the stage is up and they're ready to do the Lombardi trophy and hand it over to Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs. Boo.
Yeah, dang it.
But yeah, that's what's happening. I mean, it really is amazing how they put all that together.
Yeah. What was the energy like in there or like even leading up to the game because you went pretty early so you can kind of tailgate, pregame, get your most out of the
Yeah.
experience. What was it like?
Well, first of all, thank you for being my Lyft driver. You got
Oh,
me to the
okay.
game
No
and
problem.
home from the game in an amazing way. I mean, you guys had it was a military operation for you to get me to the game and back. But thank you
I
so
work
much
for the
for that.
Super Bowl.
Yeah. But yeah, we got there early, and they have a whole bunch of exhibitors out in the parking lot, food vendors, stages where different musicians are going. The cheerleaders are doing their routines. I mean, they pretty much have about 4 hours of entertainment that's going on outside the stadium before the game starts.
That's a
Oh
lot.
wow.
And then when you get in, then we got in about an hour before the gate before kickoff,
Okay.
and there was plenty of stuff, right? Between watching the players warm up, getting some food, seeing all the other things that are going on, looking at all the stars. I mean, that was kind of cool. Like,
Yeah, and that's the big question. How close were you to Taylor?
so she was probably about 6 sections away from 6 or 7 sections away from us, something like
Oh,
that.
okay.
And then
Okay.
right above us was LeBron James and Draymond Green for the Warriors and LeBron for the Lakers. They were sharing, interesting. They
Yeah,
were
that is
sharing a suite, so they must be pretty close. Then
interesting.
you had Russell Westbrook, a little bit to right to them. You had Jimmy Kimmel, Kelly Clarkson, um, you name it. I mean, yeah, Leonardo DiCaprio, Jay-Z, Beyonce, uh,
Elon, didn't you say you saw Elon?
Elon Musk was in
Yes.
between me and Taylor Swift. Was Elon Musk?
Okay.
Yep. Who
Wow.
else? I mean, yeah. I mean, it was just Queen Latifah. Yeah,
Dang,
you just
everybody.
you could
Uncle
just go
Greg.
on and on and
Yeah,
Yeah,
on
the
of
Uncle
everybody
Greg
that was
was
there.
there.
exactly.
And then, a lot of social media influencers were posting their pictures. So then you see their post on your phone and you go, "Where's that? Where's that?" Right? So you kind of find them, right? It was pretty fun. It was pretty fun.
Well, you got a post to share, right?
I do, so
A
the day
TikTok. Let's.
before the Super Bowl, we went to the Super Bowl experience, and the only other sport besides football was pickleball. We had a nice little video.
Here, we'll mute so you can still talk.
Yeah, so in the corner of the convention center was actually two pickleball courts set up. And like I said,
Wow.
everything was football, right? It was a Super Bowl, it was football, 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 nothing else. And then all of a sudden you see this huge sign that says pickleball. And I'm going, okay, now I know pickleball is here to stay. We've made it. We made the Super Bowl experience where no other sport did.
Were
That's
the
true.
pickleballers like just shocked to see you and excited and grabbing autographs, or?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
I should have had some security. I didn't think of that, but
I'm glad you made it out alive.
whew, it was
Exactly.
rough. It was rough. Good thing I had Amanda with me. She was fending people off. But
Right. Right.
and then the line to play against us. Oh my goodness. That
Yeah.
was that
Right.
was
I mean, come on.
crazy.
Did
I'm
you
glad they
play?
had it organized though. Thank goodness.
Did you get to play?
Yes, of course.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So yeah, got to play on the course and took on some fierce competition. I think they were probably 8 or 9 years old, something
Oh,
like
okay.
that. But it was a rough match. They had
Did you win?
you know I just felt bad about being too competitive here. So we just kind of like, we just kind of dinked around a little bit, and then they
Well,
just
I
started.
was thinking you could say that you won the Super Bowl though if you won that one. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
The
the
pickleball
pickleball
Super
Super
Bowl.
Bowl.
Yeah.
I
Exactly.
I did. I don't even know if I won the pickleball Super Bowl because they hit more home runs than I did. I mean, they were whacking the ball all over the place.
Okay.
It was intense.
Okay.
Yeah, I was hitting it harder than them, and they were hitting it harder back and against the wall and into the fence. It was wild. But it was fun. It was really cool that they actually had two courts set up in the NFL experience
That
or the
is
Super
really
Bowl
cool.
experience. Yeah.
That's really cool.
And
And
then the next day was actually going to
yeah,
the game, and I took a little. Actually, Amanda, our marketing director, she created this video.
nice.
And I forgot when I was walking around the stadium, I got interviewed by a television station, um, asking me whether I plan on calling in sick for work the next day.
Yeah.
So So I was happy to get on camera and do the interview. I don't know whether that's evidence against me that I already planned to call in sick.
Right.
Hopefully that does not make it up to the Bay Area.
Nice. That's awesome. That's
It was
awesome.
a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. Like I said, it was more than I ever expected.
That's great.
Yeah, well, I'm so happy you were able to go and check that off your bucket list. It's such a amazing experience that you had. And I got to see you for the weekend too, so
I
double
know. That was
whammy.
so much
There you
fun as
go.
well. We got to eat and and really it was so helpful having you allow me to stay at your place and driving me to and from the games. And I mean, it just made everything even better. So thank you again.
Of course. Russ, you're always welcome here too.
Oh, beautiful.
Come
Okay.
on over.
Let me get on Expedia.
We're gonna do the road trip pretty soon, right? Somewhere.
We got to. Yeah. Yeah. We got to make that happen. I think a road trip would be amazing. Just for the food itself.
Well, maybe next episode we'll talk a little bit about your most recent road trip and the
Yeah, there we
food.
go. Plenty of barbecue. Plenty of
Yeah,
barbecue.
it looked
I'll
amazing.
share I'll share some photos of that. Oh my. Wow.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, I think there's only one thing that can top the Super Bowl, and maybe that's our guest today.
I think she's gonna do it. I think she's gonna do it. We have a pro pickleball player, Jenna Hessert, is with us. Not only is she a pro and gonna share what the whole lifestyle is like being on the pro circuit, but she also is from Oklahoma, and I mean, that whole Oklahoma pickleball scene is growing. There's a lot of really good players out there, and she started a very, very high level pickleball league in Oklahoma. So she's going to share how she did that and how's it going. So come on back and meet Jenna Hessert. Welcome back to Third Shot. Thank you so much for hanging out with us during that quick little break. We always appreciate all the support that you've been giving us on social media, on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube. Please continue to give us the feedback. We love hearing from you and all the support. So thank you so much for that. We are really excited to have Jenna Hessert. She is a pro pickleball player and one of the founders of the Oklahoma Premier Pickleball League. So welcome, Jenna.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for joining us. Before we get into your background and all the wonderful things you're doing for the Oklahoma pickleball scene, we want to do a cheers to Oklahoma Premier Pickleball League.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Tasty.
So we are super appreciative because you are a very busy person for you to take the time and to meet with us and to share all of your experiences. But share with our audience all of the cool things that you've done that's kind of led up to this point in your life of being a pro pickleball player, someone who's running a league, and all of the other amazing things and accomplishments that you've done in your life.
Yeah, I like to joke that I have several jobs that I absolutely love. So, full time, I'm a geologist. I work for an oil and gas company. And then I joke that that job supports my pickleball job, but it allows me to do it, and I absolutely love it. And so, my pro pickleball career is my second job. And then with that, I've founded the OPPL with the help of several others here in Oklahoma. And then my kind of third job, or I guess fourth job now, is I coach CrossFit, and that keeps me in shape and gives me energy to do all this.
I mean, I don't know how you find enough time in the day. I mean, you were telling us your schedule and everything you have on your plate. It's crazy.
So I like to joke with my friends, if you're a Harry Potter fan, I secretly have a time turner, so that's
Do
how I get
you?
it done.
I need one of those.
So is your middle name Hermione? Is that
Yes.
the deal? Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did I mean, you have a long background in sports. Tell everybody about your background because it's pretty, it's pretty lengthy.
Yeah, so I grew up in a tennis family. Both my parents played tennis. My mom actually played D1 at the Air Force Academy. So tennis history, my dad was my tennis coach. My mom traveled with me to all my junior tournaments. Tennis was in my blood. And I actually had the option to do tennis or track in college. I was a track athlete also in high school and ended up going to Yale to run track. I had that opportunity and absolutely loved it. It was a great 4 years of sprinting. I don't necessarily want to do that ever again, but it was really fun while I did it. Kind of kept up tennis after college. In grad school at Texas Tech, I taught tennis. And then, like most people, I picked up pickleball during the COVID era. And it was just something else to do. And I instantly fell in love with it.
Wow.
You
I think you
seriously
are the first
sound-
Ivy Leaguer we've interviewed.
That's good.
Right.
Better. At least you haven't interviewed a Harvard person yet. So that's good.
Yeah, I definitely have not.
That seems very hard to find, but yeah, I mean, incredible the amount of things that you've already accomplished. Tell us a little bit about how you went from just starting to play pickleball to becoming a professional pickleball player.
Yeah, so I went with the intention of just, picking up that tournament scene again. I kind of missed that from juniors. I missed the tournament feel, and you have friends that you see kind of once a month at these tournaments, right? When you did tennis, and so pickleball reminded me a lot of that. And so I first just went to, get back into the competitive scene, And I started off actually as a 3-5. And I had no clue what I was doing. I played it a lot like tennis. And I ended up qualifying, winning a 3-5 singles tournament and qualifying for nationals in Austin. And I had no clue what that was, right? I didn't know what nationals was. I remember my nationals match actually. So I ended up getting up to 4-0, and I played Alex Chong at nationals.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah,
She
so
was
it was,
playing in 4-0. She was playing a 4-0
yes,
tournament. Oh my.
yes. So I played her first round. I lost in 3 games, battled all the way through the back draw, came back in the finals and played her in 3 games, and then beat her in the game to 15. And it was an incredible match. I remember afterwards people telling me, I still have this picture that one of my friends took, and it was the backdrop in Indian Wells. And then there's 2 people in the front row. There's a mother and a daughter. And they're like, hey, the Waters were watching your match. And I'm like, oh, the Waters. What is that? Is that like that type of drink? Or I had no clue who they were at the time. And they're like, no, like the Waters. And so I had to like, okay, let me Google the Waters. Oh, okay, that's them.
Whoa.
You had
So
pickleball
that,
royalty watching you play.
Seriously.
okay, I see. They probably were watching Alex at that point, but I'll take it. But yeah, so that's where it started. And then, I saw she went pro, and we've had several battles since then, both in singles and doubles. I've gotten her again in singles. She's got me in singles. I've not beat her in doubles yet. So,
Wow.
but yeah, so after that, I played some 5-0 tournaments, and then my friends said, hey, why don't you try this pro thing? And I've had a couple good wins since then, and yeah, I've loved it. So went pro in spring of 22.
Yeah, and offline you had mentioned a couple of those wins that you had. It's okay.
Mhm.
You can brag a little bit. Yeah, who did you beat?
So I've beaten in singles, so that's my strong suit. I'm still working on doubles, but I've beaten Anna Bright, Judith Castillo, Georgia Johnson, um, Jess Warren in the finals, Dominique Schaefer. So I've had some good wins in singles.
Yeah, just a few of the top players in the world right now. Just,
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
Gosh,
So,
that's so impressive.
yeah.
I don't know how you manage.
It's been a journey. I mean, like when I started this, I told myself I love pickleball, right? I love competing. I've always been a competitor, and that's what's driven me, win or lose, right? I just want to say that I competed tough, and I'm using my vacation hours from work to pursue this career, right? To pursue this journey. So I always say, if I ever decide at any point I would have more fun sitting on a beach drinking a Mai Tai than losing in a pickleball match, I will go do that. So that's my mindset. I absolutely love it, and I'll be honest. There's sometimes it's been close. There's been some tough losses, but for the most part, I've really enjoyed it.
I gotta ask you, like behind the scenes in the pro world, like everybody's got a paddle sponsor, right?
Mhm.
What's the process of how you choose or how they choose you to have a paddle sponsor? Because you're with Ace, is that correct?
Yes, that's
Yeah.
correct.
Like how did that whole what's the process that goes behind that?
Yeah, that's actually a great question, and I'm working with a few of the younger pros, especially the females in Oklahoma, to kind of help them go through that process. So my first thing I'd say is you need to, as much as social media, I know it's people a lot of times maybe don't want to spend their time, but that's a huge part of it, right? Because paddle sponsors want to get their name out. They want the PR that you're going to bring them. So you start with, I'd say, a bigger company, really whoever's willing to sponsor you. Now, make sure you like the paddle, right? That's important because you're going to have to use it. So I actually started with Selkirk. That was the first paddle I used, and I just emailed them with a couple of my wins and to their PR department. And this was before they had their tiers, right? And I said, hey, this is my plan. Here's the tournaments I'm planning on doing. Are you willing to, here's some wins that I've had. Are you willing to sponsor me for this, or maybe give me a little bit of free gear? So I kind of, you ask for the terms, because at this point, if you're trying to get a sponsor, you probably don't have an agent yet, right? And I reached out to them. I think I emailed about 10 companies, and they were the ones that responded. And so
Okay.
you just have to put yourself out there and ask. And so they responded, and I was with them for a year. And through this process, I don't know if Ellie Smith, she does a lot on social media. She's very sweet. So
Yeah.
she's with Ace. And so I got to know her just through the pickleball scene, and she put me in contact with their owner and said, hey, I think Jenna's an up and coming player. I think she'd be really great for your brand. And so one thing led to another just from connections after that point. And I got with Ace and set up the deal with them, and they've been great.
Earlier, you were telling us how many different jobs that you have, and I am so curious how you manage to get in training. Like, what does your training regime look like where you can still be so competitive at this high level of play, but also you're like working full time? So I don't know how you do it.
Yeah, it's I have to be pretty disciplined. I think my dad's favorite word is compartmentalization, and I live by that. Now, I don't have much of a social life. I think pickleball's kind of become my social life, but that's okay. Pickleball people, for the most part, are pretty cool. So I usually wake up about 4 a.m. each morning. I work out. I do CrossFit from 5 to 6 in the morning, and then I go to work. I have 9-hour work days Monday through Thursday. So I usually get in about an hour of pickleball at lunch on my lunch break, and then I train for an hour after work as well. And then Fridays, I have half days, so I can do 2 or 3 hours on Friday, 2 or 3 hours on Saturday, and then rest on Sunday.
Wow.
Whoa.
That is a lot. And then you're also CrossFit training somewhere in the evenings, I'm guessing. But I got to ask you,
So yes. Mhm.
the whole social side you said about, pickleball is kind of your social, outlet right now. When you're
Mhm.
at these tournaments, I'm so curious. Like it seems like it would be so much fun, right? To go to all these tournaments with all these pickleball players and, hang
Mhm.
out afterwards and stuff like that. But is that really what goes on? Or is everybody just so exhausted after the tournament, they're just back at their hotel sleeping?
Yeah, I think it's actually more the first part, which I really like. I will say that is different from tennis tournaments. As a junior, I felt like you long days at the tournament, and then you just don't really want to talk to anybody. But I will say too, in tennis, I felt like you weren't really friends with your opponent. I mean, half of my doubles partners, we've played against each other and then decided to team up, right? And I love that. That's very unique about pickleball. And so the same thing kind of happens. You end up rooming with a lot of these players. So we have a group for nationals, we had an ACE house, so all the ACE sponsored players hung out together with our owner. He came, he actually played at nationals. It was a blast. And so, from that standpoint, like it really is fun. I mean, you're obviously not going, you're maybe not taking shots late at night together, right, until after you're done. But yeah, it's a blast. You're hanging out, you're going to dinner, you're getting breakfast together, you're planning to warm up with each other, before your matches. And then hopefully, obviously, you each have long days playing, but as soon as you're done, you might mope for maybe, 20, 30 minutes if you had a tough loss, but then you're going to watch your friends play. And I really like that. And from my perspective, right, I didn't come straight into the pros. Like a lot of the younger players, they're coming from college and they're just starting in the pro scene. I kind of like it because I actually have a lot of player friends that are still, 4-0, 4-5, 5-0. And so I'll jump back and forth and I'll go watch them. And I've a few players that I actually coach, and that's what I love about pickleball is you have amateurs playing with the pros. So in between my matches, I've gone and coached some of my friends, and I love that aspect of it.
Yeah, see, you could totally count pickleball as your social time then.
Yeah, I think
It's
so. I think
a
so.
Yeah.
combination.
Yeah.
When we were talking, we had a conversation before our recording, and you had a really awesome comparison between CrossFit, which was kind of like your first competition,
Mhm.
with pickleball. Can you explain a little bit more to our listeners, kind of what that comparison is?
Yes. So I like to joke with my friends that I'm a member of two cults. So CrossFit is is very much a cult. No, I don't think anyone would disagree with that. Where everyone's talking about the same things. We all have the same brands. We have all these weird phrases like AMRAP and EMOM, and no one really knows what they mean. And so that energy, though, it's typically a lot of people that are like-minded. They're really positive. They're really inclusive. If someone does CrossFit, they want you to come do CrossFit with them, and they want to talk about their gym and their community. And that kind of energy is very similar. So now bring in pickleball. Okay, we all have the same brands. We all wear the same clothes. We have ATP and Ernie and Bert. And so it's yeah, I'm a member of two cults. I remember one of my local tournaments here, I had some CrossFit friends come watch my pickleball. And my pickleball friends were like, "Oh, cool, you're cult friends." And they're looking around these 500 pickleball players, and they're like, "Yeah, I think you're the cult, not us." But it's
Well,
very similar.
yeah, I mean, it's all about community, right? And I think
Hmm.
that's really what, well, I want you to explain. That's kind of what you're trying to build in Oklahoma right now and within the pickleball community. It seems like you got such a great vibe going on in Oklahoma. and now you're starting a league. So tell everybody a little bit about the league that you're starting.
Yes, so it's very similar to the Orchard, how they have, their MLP style. I think actually Pickleball Will talked about it. He said it's kind of like building something from the ground up, right? You have your APP, your PPA, MLP. That's kind of top down, right? It's the top pros, and you can go play near them or at the same tournaments as them and cheer them on. And this is really, my goal with this. And the first thing I did and my friends did was develop our mission statement, and it was grow pickleball within Oklahoma, but also develop pros and aspiring pros, right? How do we help kind of fuel them and get them to potentially playing, multiple PPA tournaments or playing in the MLP, and while at the same time growing the sport and awareness in Oklahoma, right? Supporting local businesses. So we developed the OPPL, and or just OPP for short. It's fun to say. So we developed that. It's 4 teams, 3 guys, 1 girl, and so we play 2 mixed matches, 2 men's doubles matches, and then we have a singles tiebreak that we coined Oklahoma Showdown because we had to put our own spin on it. And it's been really fun. We host it. It's hosted out of a brewery here, and so they have a single pickleball court. You get a free beer with your ticket. So I mean, pickleball beer, like, can't go wrong there.
Can't go wrong. Yeah.
No.
So, at what point, you're playing pickleball, did you decide like, okay, I recognize that there's a need for this, or what was the thought process behind even starting a league? Because, a lot of cities, I think right now have their city leagues and kind of their recreational leagues, but this is a little bit beyond that. How did you get to that point?
Man, I have several friends that play at the Orchard, and I was just watching that, and again, the kind of the opportunity with this court that opened up in the brewery, that was sitting there, and then we started to get more pro players. We actually have 6 players in Oklahoma that have played that consistently play pro, and a lot of people don't realize that. So I remember at one of the tournaments, I'm cheering them on, and people are, how do you know them? Oh, they're Oklahoma. Well, how do you know them? Well, they're also Oklahoma, actually. And so just seeing that level and opportunity here, we thought, hey, let's try this, right? Worst case, it's a really fun beer league, right? That was kind of like the worst case scenario. And then best case, we actually draw a crowd. We can make some money for these players because ticket sales minus offsetting costs, they all go back to the players. And then we could actually fund pro tournaments for them because we kind of talked about sponsorships. I mean, it's expensive, right? I mean, it's tough to sustain, especially a starting player. And so if we could say, hey, our pros are earning, several $100s each season, and it's going to fund 2 pro tournaments a year for them. And what an amazing thing to be able to generate, new talent, or at least give them an opportunity to go pro, right? Without using their own expenses, at least to start.
Yeah. So, you got the league going and you got this interest within Oklahoma and the players and stuff like that. But how do you actually you create 4 teams? So is there a draft? Is there an application process? Like or do you just personally go out and you're recruiting all the players? How did that work?
Yes. So this first season, it was like half recruitment, half duper. Hey, who can commit, right? Because we didn't know how this was going to go, right? So it was a little bit kind of combination of everything. Had to have a high enough duper, had to have played in pro tournaments, be competitive at that level, and also be willing to. You can't just say, "Oh, I don't feel like playing tonight," right? We're putting on a show. We have people coming to watch. So who is going to bring in a crowd, commit to playing, and then again have that high level. And then we're also live streaming it. So we have a YouTube live set up. So we had over 500 views for opening night on the YouTube, which was fantastic.
That's really
Hey,
Uh,
cool.
yeah.
yeah, so it was like, okay, you can't, like, let's try to keep swearing to a minimum. That was one of the deals too. And but yeah, so it was very much grassroots from that standpoint. And then we're going to do a draft. I think very similar, I think, to how the Australia MLP did it with a team captain. So we'll do a draft and a team captain for season 2, which will start sometime in August, like early August. And then eventually, I'd love to get like owners where they, own a team and they're scouting players. I mean, big picture, but we're starting here.
Yeah, talking about big picture, what other ideas do you have for the future as this continues to grow? Because it sounds like it's been a success so far.
Yeah, it's been great. So, huge shout out to, I want to first of all say Carol Rouse. She's been really helpful. She is one of the owners of the OKC Punishers. And so she's been a huge mentor in this and kind of helping connect me with you guys and a lot of the pickleball community. So that's been really collaborative. And what's unique about Oklahoma, a lot of people don't realize this. Oklahoma City is a pretty big city, but we only have the Thunder. That's our only, so NBA, right? That's our only pro sports team. So there's an opportunity here for pickleball to kind of be that next big sport. And you have the OKC Punishers, which is the MPL team based out of here, and then you could have the OPPL. So our plan is if we could eventually grow that fan base, and as I mentioned, it's three guys, one girl. Obviously, I'm biased. I want to see more females in sports and more females, obviously, in pickleball. So I'd like to use this to help develop the female talent and eventually go to the 2-and-2 format, potentially go to 6 teams. And then I strategically set it up where it's called the Oklahoma Premier Pickleball League. So then we could have a challenger league if we wanted to and have that feed into this. So there's definitely room to grow. We're starting here, but there's room to grow for sure.
Well, I want to congratulate you on what you've accomplished so far, and I really love your social media posts. Whoever your photographer is that's taking the action shots, I mean, really, really cool stuff out there. So you're putting great content out.
Thank you. Yeah, you want to guess what sport I pulled her from?
Ooh, tennis?
CrossFit.
Oh,
So she's a CrossFit photographer that's photographed some of my CrossFit competitions. And again, she gets like that energy. She's been great. So it's amazing. Again, even just that similar kind of field. It's okay. CrossFit, you have a platform, you have lift, you have a team dynamic, people cheering. And so she's like, I don't know how this is going to go. I've never done pickleball before. So that was her first ever pickleball shoot uh, from opening night, and then she's been photographing ever since, and she's crushed it.
she really has. I mean, some of the action shots, I mean, you really get right there on the player, their focus, the ball coming off the paddle. I mean, the whole bit.
Yeah, Logan Sunday is her name, but yeah, Limitless Studios. Like she's been incredible to work with, and it's again just another translation of the two sports. So it's been a really cool collaboration.
Have you converted her yet to this other cult?
Oh well, I mean, she loves it. I mean, she's been her and her husband came out, or her fiance came out, and they had a blast. And yeah, so I might have her hooked. It's pretty. We all know pickleball can be pretty addictive.
Right.
Well, we were asking a little bit about the future of the league. Is there a potential that Oklahoma is going to take on other states?
Yeah, so that would be great. I'm really curious to see where the MLP, kind of where that falls with everything that's happening with the merger. But one thing I do think other sports have done really well, let's, use football for an example. I'm originally from Philly, so I'm a huge Eagles fan. And it's a big deal when the Eagles play the Cowboys, right? Especially living down here. And there's a lot of trash talk happening, but I love it, even if we lose. Uh, and so to me, that's if MLP or even these kind of grassroots state teams could develop that rivalry where we have the Red River rivalry between Texas and Oklahoma. That's a huge deal. Well, that's very easily doable with pickleball, right? We could have OPPL take on Texas, take on Kansas. Maybe if we get, I mean, the Arizona League's way ahead of us, but we could have Arizona versus Oklahoma. I think people would love that. And I think that would really start to develop kind of these potential regions. You start to have divisions, and you start to create that storyline that gets other people outside of pickleball engaged, right? I've never I can throw a football pretty well, but I've never actually played, right? And maybe just some flag football in the backyard. But I love watching it, and so that's where I think pickleball can really start engaging other fan bases.
Yeah, that whole football thing's a little sensitive right now, Jenna.
Oh, are you 49ers?
Yes.
I'm sorry. I mean, I'm an Eagles fan. We crashed and burned hard, so I feel for you. At least you made it there.
Exactly. I don't know what's worse is like not making it there or making it there and losing in overtime. I mean, I don't know. It's tough. It's tough.
I mean, hey, Eagles were up by 10 points last year too, and we also lost it. So
All right.
not great. Maybe next year for us.
We can bond. We can bond over
Yeah,
that.
there we go.
Misery likes company, I guess.
Exactly.
So as you move forward, is there any plans to have tryouts, or if there's other people who are interested in maybe participating? Is there like an age limit? What are the stipulations?
Yeah, so our plans, I'm going to actually go with Carol to the NPL combine and see how that's run. So
Nice.
our plans are to host a combine, and then we'll do, a draft application and then do a draft. And then again, our goal is to develop the talent in Oklahoma, but if someone is willing to come here and play in it, then I say let them, right? I say let them come because that's going to draw the crowd versus keeping it exclusive. I want to bring people if they're say in North Texas and they're like, hey, Oklahoma is now a hub for pickleball. Let me go there and let me play there and train with those people. And say someone in Kansas is saying, hey, I'm gonna maybe I move to Oklahoma, right? I mean, everyone moves to Florida for pickleball. Why can't Oklahoma be the one in the central US to be that hub?
Now, you've traveled a lot in your life and you
Mhm.
kind of laid down roots in Oklahoma. For people that have never been to Oklahoma, tell us what it's like in Oklahoma. You can do your sales pitch for the state of
Okay.
Oklahoma.
Wow. Okay, that's a tall order. So I've been here. I've been here 2.5 years. So not that long. But for perspective, I was born in Germany, lived all up and down the East Coast, military brat, and mostly grew up PA, Connecticut, Texas. So maybe not West Coast, right? So I can't speak to that. But yeah, I think it's the perfect size town. So Oklahoma City has a really good airport. It's very central, so a lot of direct flights, and if not, Dallas is right there. But you can get anywhere in the city in about 20 minutes, which is awesome. So,
Wow.
most of my commute, yeah, is 20 minutes or less. There's again, obviously incredible pickleball here, right? Slightly biased. But yeah, it's the weather, the weather's great. You get some snow, but it doesn't last long. I love the summer. There's lots of sun. If you don't like the weather, wait 10 minutes, it'll probably change. Yeah, there's like fields. You have the Arkansas Hot Springs is only a couple hours to the east. So I've really enjoyed it. And then the community, that's as kind of the theme here. It's a pretty tight knit community. Like people that live here really love it and they're really proud of Oklahoma. I've met so many people that have lived here, left, and then moved back because they said, I liked it here. And they really enjoy it. And then the active community, even if you don't do pickleball, I do feel like it's pretty active. We have several climbing gyms. There's like volleyball leagues that you can pick up, sand volleyball, indoor volleyball, biking, running clubs. They're hosting a marathon here. So I've really enjoyed that part of it too, not just just pickleball, but just the overall kind of active community. So yeah, come live in Oklahoma City with me.
Well, we're definitely gonna have to come visit. Bridgie and I are gonna
There you
make
That
go.
that
sounds
as
great.
part of
Perfect.
the road trip for us.
Nice. I love it. I
Are
love
there
it.
are there a lot of outdoor courts in
Yeah, so
Oklahoma?
we actually have several outdoor facilities. They're really pretty. There's some down in the park, in downtown, Kicking Bird Park, which is the state Scissortail Park, which is a state bird, and then on the north side, Kicking Bird, and then there's several indoor facilities, and then there's several being actually some pretty big ones being built, and that'll be open next year too. And the indoor is great because Oklahoma does get a little windy, and so that
Mhm.
is one thing. It's nice having that indoor backup as well.
Well, I want to toast the whole Oklahoma City scene and especially what you're doing with the OPPL. So
Yes.
Cheers.
congratulations on all you're doing for the community of pickleball.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Cheers.
So for people that want to kind of follow you, what's the best way for them to follow what's going on in the league or you personally?
Yeah, so the league Instagram is OPP League. We have the schedule on there. We're pretty responsive if you want to send a DM and ask some questions and get to know it. And then the YouTube link to the live link is on there as well. And then my Instagram is just Jenna Hessert. So pretty simple. Hessert spelled like dessert with an H. And yeah, you can follow my journey. It's usually either pickleball or CrossFit posts. So and some rocks in there, of course, with geology.
Well, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thanks, guys. I appreciated it.
Yeah, thank you so much. I know that you don't have a lot of free time, so we truly appreciate you
Yeah.
carving out some time for us and sharing all of your amazing accomplishments and what you're doing again for the pickleball community.
Well, thanks, guys. It's I really do enjoy it, and that's what's made it so easy because I love it.
Well, it shows. I mean, the smile, you can't stop smiling, when you're talking about what you're doing. So it's so cool to have an opportunity to meet you, talk to you, and hopefully Bridgie and I will catch up with you at one of the APP tournaments or PPA tournaments that you're going to be playing in down the road.
That'd be great. Looking forward to it.
We do too. And for our audience, thank you so much for supporting us on Third Shot. Bridgie and I will continue to share our pickleball journey as well as have special guests just like Jenna for future episodes. Please, again, check out Jenna's league Instagram at OPP League. That's on Instagram. And then check out Jenna Hessert. That's like dessert, but only with an H on her Instagram account as well. You can support our show by subscribing, and we promise to have more amazing guests, just like Jenna, for future episodes. Let's continue to share our enjoyment for the game. It's so cool to talk about what's going on in the different communities across the country, like Oklahoma. We want to hear your story. So get with us, share what's going on with in your pickleball community, and we will see you next time on Third Shot Podcast.